Is your dog currently on a high carb diet? If you're feeding dry dog food, aka kibble, that's actually the case, even if it's a premium dog food. Actually, it may even be the case if you're feeding other types of dog food as well. Yet, the right low carb diets may actually be the healthiest and are the most natural for our dogs. And I'll show you 5 unbeatable health benefits of such diets in this video. Low carb diets have been quite popular for a while now for us humans, and for good reason. It's been shown in studies to be very effective for desired weight loss, and it can even help with problems such as diabetes, epilepsy, heart disease, arthritis, and even cancer. Plus, it truly is the most natural diet for our dogs. So aren't all dogs simply on a low carb diet? I'm Ingun, I hold a certificate as a pet food nutrition specialist, and I'm here to spread the truth about dogs and nutrition, because what our dogs eat can actually extend their lives if we feed the right food. And we want those furry friends by our side for as long as possible, right? So if you want the truth and want a chance at possibly extending your dog's life, then hit that subscribe button to follow my channel. And remember to turn on notifications and to follow me on Instagram as well. Now, first of all, let me just say that low carb does not necessarily mean no carb. Your dog can still eat carbs on a low carb diet. It's just that most dogs eating a commercial dog food today are actually on a high carb diet. Even premium dog food may contain as much as 50 or even 60% carbs. And basically, there are 2 main reasons for that. First, dry dog food or kibble actually requires starch, which is a type of carb. It requires starch in order to hold its shape. Without the starch, it would likely just turn into powder, which I'm pretty sure most dog owners would not like to feed their dogs. I mean, how natural does that look, right? Pouring powder into your dog's bowl? Bon appetit! The second reason for adding lots of carbs in dog food, at least in my opinion, though dog food manufacturers might not admit to this, is that food containing lots of carbs are usually the cheapest kind of ingredients. And let's face it, dog food is an industry and dog food manufacturers want to make money. That's just how it is. Quality, healthy, and nutritious ingredients, such as meat for instance, are expensive. Peas, on the other hand, doesn't even compare. Not on health and nutrition, and not on price. Now, you may be thinking, so what if my dog is on a high carb diet? What's wrong with that? Why is that such a bad thing? Well, to answer that, let me show you those 5 unbeatable health benefits of a low carb diet for dogs. And I think the 5th benefit will blow your mind. Health benefit number 1, it's amazing for weight loss and maintaining the perfect weight. An estimated 56% of dogs in the US are overweight or obese, with similar statistics around the world. And here's why this is so important. A lifetime study of 48 Labrador retrievers actually showed that even moderately overweight dogs may die almost 2 years earlier than leaner dogs. And this is what a moderately overweight dog looks like. So a dog that looks like this may actually die years too early. Now, why is low carb diet so good for weight loss? Well, the very simplified explanation is that when dogs eat starch, that starch is broken down into glucose by the dog's body. To get rid of the glucose, the body will secrete the hormone insulin. Basically, insulin's main job is to take glucose from the bloodstream and store it in fat cells as fat, while at the same time blocking the fat cells from releasing any of the fat. So in a way, you could say that when dogs eat starch, the starch gets broken down into glucose, which makes them release insulin, and insulin makes your dog gain fat. It's of course more complicated than this, though I'm not going to go into detail about it here. However, it is important to understand that this is a completely natural process. The issue is when we feed our dogs a lot of especially processed starch, like kibble, every single day. Now, there are a lot of studies on humans that show how effective a low-carb diet can be for losing weight. One study from 2003, for instance, showed that women on a low-carb diet lost an average 8.5 kilograms over a 6-month period, while women on a low-fat diet lost only 3.9 kilograms on average, even though they were eating about the same amount of calories. Plus, only the low-fat diet group was actually told to restrict calories, which is an important point when it comes to how you feel on a diet and also maintaining weight loss afterwards. low-fat diets are quite known to leave you hungry. While if you eat the right foods, low-carb diets can actually be quite satiating. I mean, if you eat the right foods, you wouldn't even feel like you're on a diet, which is important because it really shouldn't be a diet, it should be a lifestyle, right? There are not many studies on low-carb diets in dogs, though the way insulin works in their bodies is very similar. And people report great results for weight loss when they feed the right low-carb diet for dogs. And I'll share more about what I mean by the right low-carb diet shortly. Just to give you an idea of how amazing it can really be, check out Nina here, who lost all the excess fat in just 2 weeks on an all-natural, nutritious, low-carb diet. Just 2 weeks. And by the way, she was 9 years old at that time. In the before picture, she was moderately overweight, while on a low-calorie weight management diet for obese dogs, by the way. And as we saw earlier, she could have even died years too early if she stayed like this. Now though, because she lost excess fat and in a healthy way, she's hopefully extended her life by years. Now, health benefit number 2 of a low-carb diet for dogs is that there's way less risk of something called insulin resistance, which is linked to all sorts of health problems. Remember the health problems I mentioned earlier, like diabetes, epilepsy, arthritis, heart disease, and even cancer? Well, all of those and more are actually linked to insulin resistance, at least for us humans, and it's likely similar for our dogs. The thing is, if we or our dogs eat a lot of processed starchy food over time, the insulin response in our bodies may start to go out of control, and eventually we may even end up insulin resistant. And then it's practically game over unless we do something about it. I mean, as an example, low-carb diets are currently being used to even help dogs recover from cancer. One of the main sources of fuel for cancer cells is glucose, which is what starch is broken down into by the dog's body. Avoiding feeding processed starchy food may therefore help your dog keep clear of some of the worst health problems out there, and possibly even help dogs recover from some nasty diseases. So, health benefit number 3, with the right diet, it can be way more nutritious. Dogs require certain nutrients and they need to come in the right form for our dogs to be able to absorb and make use of them. Foods that are high in starch and sugar are some of the least nutrient-dense foods out there, which basically means that our dogs would have to eat a lot of that food in order to get the required nutrients. And even then, they might not even get the necessary nutrients because they might not even be in the right form, or some nutrients may still be missing. This, in addition to how processing of dog food destroys nutrients, is likely the main reason nutrient supplements, often even synthetic nutrients, are added to dog food. Otherwise, the dog food would simply not contain enough nutrients for our dogs. On the other hand, some of the most nutritious and nutrient-dense foods out there is naturally very low carb, such as meat. So if you want to feed something highly nutritious that doesn't contain a bunch of supplements and is not highly processed, it's naturally going to be low carb. Now, before we get to the mind-blowing health benefit number 5, health benefit number 4 is more of a reason why it makes sense for dogs to eat a low-carb diet. And that is, it's the most natural diet for dogs. Think about this. If we let our dogs live a natural life in the wild, where would they find starchy food? Nowhere. They might eat some berries from time to time when they're in season, though when it comes down to it, a completely natural diet would be a low-carb diet. They could of course eat some other plants as well, though they would naturally be very low in starch, and also not contain enough nutrients for our dogs in the right form, not at all. So they would have to eat other foods, specifically animal foods, such as meat. Plus, dogs don't even require carbs in their diet. That's a fact, and even dog food manufacturers will agree with that. The only reason dogs eat a lot of carbs is because we feed it to them. Now, some people use the argument that carbs is a source of energy as a reason to feed it to our dogs. However, a study on 18 racing sled dogs from 1977 actually showed that dogs running 12 miles or 19 kilometers in less than 40 minutes even seem to do better on a zero-carb diet. So if even racing sled dogs don't require carbs for energy, do you really think your dog needs all those carbs? Low carb may sound like a new thing or something that's just trending right now, though in reality, it's been around since forever, since the beginning of our existence, for both us and our dogs. The most natural diet for our dogs is naturally low carb. Dogs are not designed to eat a lot of carbs, they don't require carbs, and they wouldn't even be able to eat a lot of it in the wild. Now, health benefit number 5 is probably the biggest, and it basically combines everything we've talked about so far. And that is that with the right diet, it may even extend your dog's life. Food is probably the single most important factor when it comes to our dog's health. And we actually choose what to feed them. So it's up to us to make sure we feed them the healthiest possible food we can provide. Because as we've seen, with the wrong diet, they could even end up insulin resistant and possibly even get all sorts of health problems such as arthritis, epilepsy, cancer. A lot of dogs have these diseases today. And a lot of people report amazing recoveries by changing the dog's diet. Your dog's diet truly has the power to either promote disease or help your dog be as healthy and live as long as possible. And since the most natural diet for dogs is low carb, it's automatically also the healthiest. Remember, nature is smart, and dog food manufacturers haven't been able to outsmart nature and create a better food. If that was the case, all dogs would be lean, fit, super healthy, and live to be 25 years old. And that's probably the furthest from the truth right now, though I'm on a mission to change that. Even if all this did was help your dog lose any excess fat, as we've seen, even that may extend your dog's life. Now, I need to emphasize that it needs to be the right diet. Because when it comes down to it, it's not only about the amount of carbs, of course. Even with everything we've discussed so far, carbs are not necessarily the devil. Some carbs can be fine, though I wouldn't overdo it with our dogs because they also need nutrient-dense foods. The thing is, how the food you feed your dog has been processed, if any, is very important. And so is where the nutrients come from is also super important. Dogs need real food. And frankly speaking, I think they deserve real food. Processing alters the food and can destroy vital nutrients. And we don't want our dogs to depend on synthetic nutrients, right? Plus, some of the most nutritious foods for our dogs is also what they find the most delicious, meaning meat, which once again is naturally very low carb. Now, how can you feed a low carb diet to your dog, you may be wondering? For us humans, eating a low carb diet basically means limiting foods like bread, pasta, cereal, candy, soda, and all of that, right? Though our dogs don't eat those foods. Most dogs just eat one dog food and that's it. So how can a dog go on a low carb diet? How does that even work? Are there low carb dog foods out there? Remember, it's not only about the amount of carbs. Dogs should eat nutrient-dense, real food. And if they do, it would automatically be low carb. And the best way to feed such a diet to our dogs is feeding a homemade diet, which, I must add, can actually be quite simple and even take as little as 5 minutes on a day-to-day basis. And who doesn't have 5 minutes a day to make sure their dog eats a healthy and nutritious meal, right? However, there are some important things you need to know before you start feeding your dog a homemade diet. Because it's important that your dog gets nutrient-dense foods and avoids some of the foods that could actually be dangerous to dogs. It can be simple, but you need to do it correctly. Now, I would love to share how to feed such a diet to your dog, though there simply isn't enough time in this video. That's why if you're ready to find out how to feed the best possible diet to your dog, you should check out the Viking Dog Diet System, which shows you step by step how to feed an all-natural, healthy, nutritious, and delicious diet to your dog in a simple way, including meal examples. So if you think your dog deserves healthy, nutritious food, then you should check out the Viking Dog Diet System right now at vikingdogdiet.com. You may find the link below this video. Now, if you enjoyed this video, remember to click the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and share the video so as many dogs out there can be as healthy and live as long as possible. Now, say hi to your beautiful dog for me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.